Feeling beautiful and luxurious does not have to be as expensive as you think. In this video, I share with you my process on making my very own DIY kimono robe.
So I am so excited to tell you about my very first kimono that I've ever made.
But first, I want to share with you some tools that I used to make this kimono. I used the recycled craft paper to trace an outline of the old robe that I had from Victoria's Secret. Now, the recycled craft paper, it'll do the job, but I really prefer tracing paper and will probably end up purchasing tracing paper after I'm finished using this craft paper. And as you can see in the photo, I used fabric cutting scissors and Gutterman 100% polyester thread.
We'll talk about a little bit about my process in making the robe right here. And I used a pattern of an old robe that I really loved. It was from Victoria's Secret, and got some tracing paper from Amazon. I folded the robe, put it on the tracing paper, and outlined like half of the robe. Now I did forget to put in seam allowance, so it's a little smaller than what I would have wanted it to be, but it still fit pretty good. And then of course, once I traced the robe, forgot the seam allowance, but I cut out the pattern, I of course placed it on the fabric. I still kind of, even though I had like the one pattern, I still had to sit there and figure out how I was gonna place it on the material and just kind of sew it together. So I really didn't want to make any mistakes because I didn't have enough fabric to do like another robe. So I ended up figuring it out. I placed the pattern where it needed to be on the fabric. I made sure to like turn the pattern around so I had the left side. One thing that I wish I would have done with the robe is did a double fold. Now from far away it looks like okay, but when you get close you can see that, you know, I did what would this be, a seam or a hem? I did it poorly and I should have done a double fold. I'm also thinking that I probably could have used, I don't know, maybe a different needle, maybe even a different thread, because it looks like you can see, I don't know what that would be called, like the puncture or something. So I think maybe I can try, I don't know, a smaller needle. If you have a recommendation for a charmeuse fabric, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear. And also the belt here. I had messed up with the belt by not making the fabric thick enough so that when I actually sewed it, it was like a good width. And by sewing the belt super thin, it made it really difficult for me to flip it from the inside out. And it took a long time for me to actually do. I didn't have any of the tools where you kind of just, you know, put the little stick in and then flip it inside out nice and easy. I don't have that yet, but even though it's like a Monet, you know, from far it looks nice and from close you can definitely tell there's some mistakes, I would still consider it a pretty easy sewing project for beginners. I'm going to do another one just to fix the mistakes that I made, which was not including the seam allowance, maybe a different needle, the double fold, and of course thicker on the belt, maybe a little bit different material, maybe even a softer, like creamier material, maybe like a champagne kind of color. But I also think that this would make a really nice Christmas gift that would be kind of on a budget. I mean, I think the material for this, I think I purchased 2 yards and it was probably about 22 bucks. So it's not too pricey for what the person would be getting, especially if you can sew better than me with a nice, you know, with a nice fabric. And I'm sure you can find something probably even cheaper with all of the deals that are going on right now. So hopefully maybe that even sparks an idea of what you can kind of whip up with some pretty material, maybe even have around the house that you can give to someone as a Christmas present. Not only that, but what I love about fabric like this is that you can even get really creative on how you wrap it up. Like you can get really creative with how you even package it up as a present. You know, you can like roll it up, kind of like one of those nice towels they give you at the spa, or if you're an Equinox member, you know, they give you those scented lavender towels that smell so good that you could just put on your face when you're in the sauna. Anyways, yeah, so you could do it like that. You know, you could wrap it up very pretty like that and put a gorgeous bow or something when you're tying it together. Now, when I recorded this video, I did not think I was gonna say that, or else I would have purchased like a really pretty bow and I would have actually done it. So you would have a complete visual of what I'm talking about. So thank you for watching my super short video, my first kimono robe that I've ever episode. I do plan on talking about and sharing other projects that I will be completing in the future. And of course, I do hope to get so much better so that they actually look like professional pieces, but I think that it's not maybe so bad for being my first time. I don't know. So if you love making garment pieces, or at least trying to, then be sure to stick around with me for this journey and hit the subscribe button. Or if you want to introduce me to a specific channel, I would love to see your recommendations. So until next time, guys, happy holidays.